Okay, this one might take a little bit longer because we're going to do examples from 3 different equations. But if you can't remember where the slope is hidden in an equation, you should know how to find the slope between 2 points. And so we're going to go ahead and try to generate 2 points. All right, we'll make a table, x, y, and we can pick any x that we want. Now, because we've got this multiplier here that's got a 7 in the denominator, we want to be aware of not creating fractions if we can avoid that. And so you can always just guess at something. Because this is a 7, you want to start making consecutive guesses until one of them works out to not be a fraction, and that might take 7 of them along the way. I think I can see from this that if I put a 1 in for x, that 6 plus 1 will make a 7, and that will cancel with the 7 there. So I'm going to start there with a 1, and I'm going to replace the x here with a 1, so I get y minus 3 is 5 over 7 times 1 plus 6. That is y minus 3 is 5 over 7 times 7. That's y minus 3 is 35 divided by 7. So y minus 3 is 5. And adding 3 to both sides, y would have to be 8 to go with that. Okay. Now that I've got this one to work, and because the denominator is 7, I want to go 7 away from 1, so I'll either go to an 8 or I'll go back to a negative 6. Negative 6 would actually clean things up pretty nice in there, so I'm going to put a negative 6 in. And when I do that, I'll do that one over here. I get a y minus 3 is 5 over 7 times negative 6 plus 6. So that's y minus 3 is 5 over 7 times 0. And y minus 3 is equal to 0. And if I add 3 to both sides, I get that y is going to be 3 there. So now I have my 2 points, and I can give my up and down directions. To get from 8 to 3, I would have to subtract 5. To get from 1 to negative 6, I would have to subtract 7. So my slope is negative 5 over negative 7. Negatives cancel each other, and I just get a slope of 5 over 7. Okay. And you might look back in that equation and say, now I see where that is. So, example 2. I'm going to go for my second example. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. We'll make our xy table. And I'm going to go ahead, and I don't have any fractions in here, so I can pick anything I want. I always like picking 0 because that tends to make things easy. So that's y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 5. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, so the y is 5. So 0, 5 is on this, and then I'll go ahead and I can pick anything. I'll pick a 3. If I pick a 3, I get y equals negative 2. I guess I'll follow my pattern and do that over here. Y equals negative 2 times 3 plus 5. That's negative 6 plus 5. That's a negative 1. And now that I have my points again, to get from 5 to negative 1, I have to subtract 6. To get from 0 to 3, I have to add 3. And so my slope will be the up and down directions divided by the left and right directions. Negative divided by positive is negative. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So there is my slope on that one. And I might be able to look back at the equation and see that first one, again, this was a point-slope form of a linear equation, and this one was a slope-intercept form. The names of those imply that I should be able to see those things without doing any work. Okay. My example 3 will go to an equation in standard form. I'll use 2x plus 5y equals 18. Let's see. Make my table. In this one, I'm going to, I can choose x's or y's. I'm going to choose a y to be 0. This is how I would find the x-intercept, by the way. If I put a 0 in for y, I get 2x plus 5 times 0 equals 18. So 2x plus 0 is 18. 2x is 18. If I divide both sides by 2, I get that x is 9. So the x is 9 when I made the y 0. So there's 1 point on there. Now I got to try to find another one that's not going to give me a fraction. I believe if I put a 0 in for the x, I'm going to have to do 18 divided by 5, which is going to be a fraction. So if I made the x, though, a -1, I think, if I made x -1, then I would have 2 times -1 plus 5y equals 18. So -2 plus 5y is 18. Add 2 to both sides, and I get that 5 times y is 20. And so dividing by 5 on both sides, y would have to be 4. So my slope, to get from 0 to 4, I have to add 4. To get from 9 to -1, I would have to subtract 10. So my up and down directions divided by my left and right directions, positive divided by a negative will be a negative. 4 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And my slope there would be -2/5. I think I kind of lost that on the screen, so let me get that back up there where we can see it. And call that a video.